With the formation of the OAU, Ethiopia hopes to improve the standards of living throughout Africa, eradicate traces of colonialism and apartheid, encourage economic, political, and social cooperation between African nations, and establish unity between them. Reaching these goals will better Ethiopia as a nation
and Africa as a whole.
Since Ethiopia was first liberated from Italian colonialism in 1941, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie has worked diligently towards African unity and independence. We take pride in the effort, dedication, and devotion the Emperor has put into making the Organization of African Unity a reality. Ethiopia is deeply dedicated to the formation of the OAU. The conference is occurring in our own capital of Addis Ababa, and our hopes to eradicate traces of colonialism and apartheid. Ethiopia plans on providing aid to liberation movements throughout Africa. Ethiopia also aims to support and defend other African nations and establish strong relationships with countries across Africa.
Economically, Ethiopia hopes to improve financial conditions through all of Africa. We firmly believe that promoting foreign investments and capitalism in African nations will better economies across the continent. Additionally, investing in public works projects also has the potential to boost the economies of many African countries. Together, we hope that the nations of Africa can narrow the economic gap between our countries and wealthier nations.
Socially, Ethiopia hopes to establish schools and education systems throughout Africa. Currently, Ethiopia has an illiteracy rate higher than 90%. The high illiteracy rates within our nation stem from the lack of education in rural areas. By combating illiteracy, we give the people of Africa more opportunities to excel, and all of our nations a better opportunity to compete on the global scale. Encouraging education and literacy will strengthen the state of our nations.
The job of the police is to uphold and defend the rules and laws that our nations are built on. However, many members of the police forces throughout Africa have been corrupted and no longer work to achieve these goals. Police corruption is another social issue that has plagued nations all around Africa and must end. By instating reliable, incorruptible officers, African nations can begin healing the scars left by the corrupt officers that failed to preserve the laws our nations were built on.
Though Ethiopia is a hereditary monarchy, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie has recently pushed for democratic representation in Ethiopia. As of 1957, the citizens of Ethiopia have voted for members of the Ethiopian Senate and the House of Deputies. Though we encourage other African nations to adopt a democratic system, we do not expect this to be written specifically into the OAU Charter. However, we do require that all nations in the OAU agree to the non-alignment movement, a campaign for nations to take no side in the conflicting interest between the United States and the Soviet Union. We believe that subscribing to the non-aligned movement will allow the countries of Africa to maintain better relations with one another and lead to more cooperation between nations.
We firmly believe that Ethiopia will make the Organization of African Unity a stronger group.